Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you one of my junk journals and we're going to have a look inside and I'll go through what I've used in this. Now, this is not a very large journal and I was given a pack of papers which I'll show you in the interior by a friend and I wanted to use them all up. Now the outside we've got some calico, it's just made from recycled cardboard, the cover. We've got laces, a bit of ribbon, this floral decoration, a bit of a transfer image there, a pink safety pin, some more lace, a wooden flower, and some vintage buttons. On the spine, I've got some tea-dyed vintage lace and a piece of calico. And the back is just wrinkled, a bit of wrinkle, because when I used a new glue, it got like that, so I just left it. I didn't fuss around with it too much. Just getting the bookmark out of the way. This little tassel was just something I tried, something different for once. So let's have a look at the interior. First I'm going to show you the size. It's 14 centimeters by 19 centimeters and roughly 5.5 inches by about 7.5 inches. I like this size because I can just use photocopy paper in it. There's the bookmark, an old button, and a piece of text from a book so you can write. Now, a lot of the colours were really bright, so some of the pages I've used like the brown paper with the stitching to give you an area to write and to tone down the very pink colours, and a little sticker there just for some interest. There's a lot of white pages in this journal, a little random butterfly. Now on the edges I always use some scraps of paper because photocopy paper is quite thin and it can tear quite easily. This is a piece of paper out of a children's storybook, lovely thicker paper, beautiful colours. Now here I've just used a piece of old paper out of a novel, and these were actually little pieces that came with the paper pack. I've used some more of that fabric just on some lined paper from an exercise book. This fabric was from the paper pack. Now I just made this as a little card to write on, but then my friend said to me, hey look, you can use it as a bookmark as well if you like. So dual purpose, I hadn't actually thought about that. It's got a bit of atlas paper here. Again, I have a scrap bag next to my, when I'm working to make a journal, and I put everything in there and I try to use up as many things as possible. Just having a bit of a struggle here to put that back on. The words on that little tag just say smile. Just a bit of edging there just to make sure that the paper is secure and won't rip. Piece out of the children's book. Now here I've used some pages out of an old day planner, a piece of old paper from an old book, and it just adds like a little bit of a notebook inside. Again, you can see the paper's quite thin, so I've added the edge, a random flower to kind of match this pretty flower pattern here. This paper again, the floral is out of the pack, so I've tried to have some white to balance it out a little bit. Here I've just added a little flip out, two flip and a flip down, just a bit of interest really. A floral that came with the pack that I would never use anywhere else, and an edging again to make sure the paper doesn't rip. Some very random scraps of paper. Now the center I've just got some pink thread. I haven't got any charms on that. I may put them on later. Again, a paper edge just to make the paper a little bit ephemera there, a random scrap. Now here I have a little decor that I've made to go on the paperclip using up some random beads. I thought that came out, but it's actually a envelope pocket. So these are quite small and yet they're quite delicate. Here's just an envelope that's been stitched around the edge, put some scrap papers and little bits and pieces of ephemera stuck to that just to make it a little bit more interesting. Again, the green paper was from the pack. The butterfly was just a piece of note paper, a bit more edging, an old page from an old book. This page is from a kid's storybook, and there's a little scrap left over from another page because the pages were very large. That's a freebie from an online store. Again, the thinner paper with the edging, and that's the original bookmark that I actually made to go with this. Here again, the very bright yellowy pink rose pattern. I wanted to tone that down, so I just made this very large tag or piece of scrap here that you could write on. Used up lots of scraps of paper. Another edging from the original paper, old book page with the sewing around the edge, and it just gives you lots of writing space. This is a page out of a children's book. The very pink colour, and you can see how thin that paper is, so that's why I do put the edge on it. Here I just have a flip out. Now I'm just checking, I thought it was a pocket but it's not. A flip up, and again just checking, but it's actually just a writing space, but it uses up 2 old envelopes, and at my local op shop envelopes are quite cheap and you can do quite a lot with them. The little tag there, the little tassel, some writing paper with a few little bits of ephemera, piece from an old atlas, and this is actually a full-length pocket, and inside that full-length pocket, just to show that you put something in, another one of those envelope cards, old envelope with some stitching and a few bits and pieces from the paper scrap box just to make it interesting. Here I have a little flip up notebook using up little bits that I've offcuts from here, there and everywhere. Picture out of a child's book. Again, the paper is just photocopy paper, so it's not very thick. Original paper from the pack, and just a fold out area that you can just write on or stick pictures on, whatever you like. Nice slimy green paper, I like that. Now the pink was very bright, so what I did to tone it down was just put this bit of brown wrapping paper on it, and the greens and pinks go together. And up the top here, this was folded over from the previous page, and it just gives you a bit of strength on that corner. Page from a children's book, very bright. Again, just a piece of paper across the top, stitching around the edge of that old piece of book page. Very, very pink little edge there, and this very pink photocopy paper with just a few little things placed on it there. The edging, again scraps, and in the center, as I said, I haven't put any charms in here yet. Some little random pieces that I wasn't going to use anywhere else, so I just placed them there. Again, the edging, I've cut 2 pieces just to use them up. You'll see that it's quite repetitive. I've used these older pages with the stitching and then the border across the top throughout it. Gives it a bit of uniformity. That's a page from a children's book. Again, the pink original paper, a little brown piece of paper with a flip down, just to break it up a little bit. Some more edging on the side of this particular piece of paper, and just a little sticker there. This was very, very bright, but I used it up, and I used the pink on that paper, photocopy paper again. Child's page from my book, again, the old page from the book as well. Now this is atlas paper, and I've used this particular shape is from my tea box, actually, that piece of card, and it's covered. This one has washi tape on it and just odd bits and pieces of fabric that I had, like odd bits and pieces of paper, not fabric, sorry. Some more washi tape, and again, just bits and pieces of paper that I didn't want to throw out. Some more lined paper from an exercise book. And the last sheet there is just some purchase paper and a part out of a book that you could just read for interest, and my calico insert there. The back is a little bit wrinkly, but I don't mind that. I think it looks fine. I like the little bits of dangly bits hanging out here. Not too many things, but just enough. So thank you for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Happy journaling, everyone.